choose professors that are within your methodology. For instance, if you are purely quantitative, you may not want to choose someone who's purely qualitative. I don't know. Or I've got, well, my advisor and then one other person from my department, and then I've got one from Ed Psych and one from Ed Ad. And my chosen, my former advisor, obviously, is no longer on my committee because he's retired, so I had to find a replacement. And I chose Dr. Taracco because I took a class with him, and I developed a really nice relationship with him. And I ran into him one day, and I told him my situation and what I'm studying, and he says that it's right up his line of work. And then for my statistical parts, I have Vicki Plano-Clark on there that can help me with that. And then I've got my representatives from my department. And so you got to choose very carefully. You got to be selective about your committee members, I think, because you want it to work. You want it to gel, and you want.
How many of you are at the point where you're starting to work on your proposal?
Yay!
Oh, that's great. And then how many of you are, still a ways? Well, I'm assuming the rest of you then are a ways away from this. Okay. Heather talked about choosing somebody who is comfortable with your
Methodology.
probably with methodology. As long as that topic came up, let me make a suggestion to you. I think we tend to sometimes students choose their methodology before they know what their questions are. And it seems to me this is backwards. Really what you want to do is know what it is you want to study, know what your issues are, know what your problems are if you're picking a problem in practice, ask your questions, and then decide. Okay, well, the best way for me to answer this question is to choose a methodology. The college is no longer, for the most part, I don't know of anybody who is not open to all kinds of methodologies. You may find occasionally that committee members will not be real open to sort of narrative forms of autobiographical methods, but for the most part, standard qualitative methods have been done on hundreds of dissertations, so that shouldn't be a problem. We can talk about the quality of dissertations, not proposals now. But if you haven't, and you're interested in this topic enough to come to this meeting, it would be good for you to go over to Love Library and look at dissertations. There's stacks of them. And try to pick ones in your field, and just browse through them. And you'll find that some are really good, and you say, oh my God, I wish I could do something like that. You'll find some that are so weak that you wonder how they ever got through. So dissertations come in all shapes and sizes and qualities. You should aspire to do a quality dissertation. You should know what that looks like. If you haven't used the database called Dissertation Abstracts, it's one you certainly need to be familiar with. I think, let's go through this first. We'll see how much time we have.
Sure.
That's one of the questions. But you log into Love Library and you go to electronic resources, and then you go to, they give you an alphabet of A, B, C, D, E. You go to D, scroll down, you'll find Dissertation Abstracts International. What do you get? You get a very searchable database. You can search by topic, you can search by title, you can search by field. There's a whole long dictionary of subject words that you can use to search with. You can search by your advisor, which is always instructive. What's your advisor? What kind of studies is your advisor supervised? So write in your advisor's name with the drop-down menu. You can find those studies. So I really encourage you to use dissertation abstracts, even if you're not doing proposals. When you're writing papers for classes, it's a great database. It's a wonderful way to reference research. So,
It's a great way to find articles. You can look in the reference section and say, oh, there's an article that I need on, well, I'm doing authentic leadership. On authentic leadership. And so you get the journal and you get the article, and then you can go into the electronic journal database and type it up, and there it is. It's really nice. It's really nice.
so yeah, it's one of the most useful databases. I should tell you that Tariq knows this, but I was in the country of Georgia on a Fulbright last spring semester. And I didn't expect to be doing this, but I ended up teaching doctoral students working on dissertation proposals, which is very strange. It was even stranger because these people had no access to the kind of library we have. So basically it was almost impossible for these students to create a research study without being able to access a research library and its databases. So anyway. Okay, let's see. I think I want to talk about another unique feature of the doctoral dissertation. And that's that, at least in this college, maybe not in textiles, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but certainly in education administration, curriculum instruction, ag leadership, I think pretty much in ed psych, I'm not sure about special ed, but I describe the dissertation as something called solo scholarship. That means you do it alone. And it's, for many of us, it's the first time in our academic life that we have really had to be in charge of our own research. Nobody's guiding us. For the first time in our educational experience, we have to do it on our own. And in fact, that's the purpose of the dissertation to some degree. If you look in the graduate college bulletin, you'll see descriptions of what the dissertation is supposed to be. And it's supposed to be a demonstration of independent scholarship. That's what it's supposed to be. We use that phrase a lot, independent scholarship. So now this doesn't fit some of the STEM fields, the natural science fields, where often groups of people will be doing work in a laboratory and they will take small pieces of a large project, and that will be their dissertation. But at least in the social sciences and in education, the dissertation tends to be a piece of solo scholarship. And this is very unsettling. And it's why many of us have trouble getting a proposal together. I mean, I don't know about some of you who are actually working on this. I know my experience, it took me a long time to finally find a topic, figure out what I wanted to do, because nobody was telling me what to do. And it's because it is this business of solo scholarship. And that's what we're preparing you to do, is to go out and be researchers. Now, unfortunately, because we're also a professional school, that goal doesn't always resonate with the futures that you may pursue. I mean, many people in this college don't go on to be researchers. Many people in my field, education administration, continue being administrators. They don't go on and be researchers. So there's sort of a disconnect between the dissertation and its structure and the futures that people may have. But that's what it is, so we're going to live with it. Anyway, solo scholarship is one of the things that we struggle with in putting together the proposal.